Hey, PNO, we back with another one. Let's talk about ego versus confidence. Obviously, we could say confidence is necessary in your everyday life. Confidence can make or break a man or woman.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Uh, Ego, however, some would argue is unnecessary. Um, Personally, everybody like I think everybody has an ego. Realistically, I don't think. I think
Yeah.
it's a natural part of being a human being. If you don't have an ego, like what are you, just a bitch or something? Like I don't know. Like you kind of need an ego, but also I think you need to be able to keep your ego in check.
That's
that that you had you could you do you want
that's what I think. That's what I think. I think ego is necessary. I think confidence is the way you carry yourself regardless. You know what I mean? Like you
Yeah,
it's the way you walk from a gym to a school to a job, everywhere. It's the way you carry yourself. Confidence you people can feel in a room when you walk in, right? Ego, ego is like a psychological thing. It's the ability to say, no matter what, I am the best.
yeah, yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
It's like I even if you think I'm wrong, I am the best. I don't need to hear your opinion first. You know what I mean? And even after I hear your opinion, I'm still the best. That's what ego is, kind of, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like I'm the best no matter what. And I think that's necessary in certain aspects. But just like you said, there's certain aspects where you have to let it go. You have to that ego becomes negative and toxic when you're actually wrong. Like you are actually not the best at what you're doing. You know what I mean? Like you can't go up to a job interview, sit on the boss's chair and then be like, bro, you know what? Listen, you called me for an interview, but I already got the job. Now I'm giving you an interview to as to whether I should accept this shit.
Power
That's
move.
that. Yeah.
Power move. Nah, but realistically, I don't think it's about right or wrong. Because I feel like even if you're wrong, ego is you know what's a really good thing to look at? Like look at like rappers, basketball players. Bro, you kind of
Exactly.
need to have a really big ego to even
Exactly.
make it because it's like and that's not confidence. Confidence is yeah, I'm confident I'm gonna make this shot. I'm
Confidence
confident.
is what allows you to record.
Yeah, exactly. But ego, you need that ego. Ego is what drives your competition. Because when your
Exactly.
ego is challenged, that's what makes you want to be better. Right? So
That's
you don't
that's what
have to be
that's how
right.
I think. That's
You
how
don't
I
have
think.
to be right. You don't have to be right. You can be wrong. I can know this nigga, like, you know what I'm saying? A nigga can be better than me, and everybody can know he's better than me, but I'll believe I'm better than him, and that will make me get better than him.
Exactly. That's exactly how I think. Like when I started boxing, um, like Delvar, a friend of ours, he was boxing before me, right? And he's able to whoop me. He's able to whoop me, right? But it got to a point where I have to think to myself every single time I go there. I know my competition, and I'm not gonna let you beat me until you beat me. I'm not gonna let you beat me because in my head right now, I'm better than you. You have to prove me wrong. You know what I mean? He proved
That's
me wrong. Yes, he proved me wrong. But up until that point, my ego was telling me, and it allowed me to learn how to box and how to kickbox and everything. Because if I just went there like, oh shit, like I don't know if I could do this. Number one, I don't have confidence because I don't believe that I am able to do something. But number two, there's no driving
that you had you could you do you want
force. There's not the ego is the driving force for me to it's like a it's like where I want to be and
exactly.
how I want myself like to be. It's like when you make, just like you said, basketball player or musician. Musicians always have competition, like competition. Every single musician is always in competition. A designer is always in competition. An architect, everything is always in competition. On YouTube, you're always in competition. But to believe that you're going to be somewhere one day, that's ego. That's ego that's going to drive you. Because to say that you're the best in what you do every single freaking day when you wake up is going to allow you to be the best in what you do. Like when you're working out, I want to get this. I want to look like this.
Yeah.
When you go out to a party or whatever, yeah, confidence plays in a role, but I'm not gonna lie. When we go to a party, that's ego.
Yeah, that's
That's
all ego.
ego.
That's all ego.
That's
I
not confidence.
I think the only times where ego is detrimental is when
Since you're attacking us, can you give us a question? Mr. President-elect.
Go ahead.
Mr. President-elect, since you are attacking our news organization, can you give us a chance?
Your organization
You are
is
attacking
terrible.
our news organization.
Your organization
Can you give
is
us a
terrible.
chance
Let's
to
go.
ask a question, sir?
Go ahead.
Sir, can
Quiet.
you state,
Quiet.
Mr. President-elect,
Go ahead.
can you state
She's asking a
categorically,
question.
Mr.
Don't be rude.
President-elect, can you give us a question?
Don't be
You're
rude.
attacking us. Can you give us a question?
Don't be rude.
Can you
No,
give
I'm
us
not
a
going to give you a
question?
question. I'm not going to give you a question.
Can you state categorically?
You are fake news.
Sir,
Go ahead.
can you state categorically that nobody...
like you said, like a job interview, right? So basically, when your situation is dependent on that person's hand, yeah, that's when you drop your ego. That's when you're like, okay, I need to recognize here. I can't be on my big dog shit. Like I'm not, you can't have an ego with somebody you're not competing with. That's where you need to drop the ego. If somebody's clearly out of your league, above your shit, and that's only if they have power over you. Don't get me wrong. So I don't even care like if it's different leagues. Like I said, I could be in the D League and still be like, I want to beat LeBron. Okay? But that's because LeBron doesn't call the shots for me. Right? So like you have to just recognize where somebody can make a difference in your situation. That's where your ego can be detrimental, is when they're calling the shots. You have to recognize that. That's one. And then two also is ego is detrimental when you're too proud to let go of your ego in situations that could affect other people. Like for example, like you get curved by a girl and you don't know what to do about it. So then you start like, so you know the type of guys I'm talking about, start hitting girls and shit like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's also ego. Okay. That's their ego. Their ego can't take that. So that's what I mean by you have to be able to keep it in check, right? You have to be able to accept certain things. You have to be able to see things how they are.
Yeah, that's it. I completely agree. I think I have an ego in like two fields, in like the design field and then in appearance. Sorry, shit. I have an ego. I know I'm that shit. I know I'm that nigga. When I walk into Walmart, I know
I'm here to tell you right now.
Look at me. I know that.
We don't care.
I know that.
We don't care.
Right? I know, but however, my ego only comes into play when I'm trying to get the person. If I'm trying to get a girl, right? But it doesn't come into play once I've already got the girl. When
I'm here to tell you right now.
Confidence is how you
We don't
act.
care. Let me tell you, we
Regardless of the
don't care.
situation. It's how you move. It's like how you play on the field, right? The ego is going to allow me to. It's like where I position myself in already. Like I already position myself getting the rings and winning the championship. I already positioned myself that place in my mind. So I think ego is necessary completely, just like you said. And I think there's certain places where it's necessary and there's certain places where it's not. I think it's necessary to fuel you. It's not necessary when it's detrimental, just like you said. Like you gave a great example. You came to what'd you say again?
Yeah, I was saying, like when the person has power over you, or when you just have to
in an
let it go.
interview.
Yeah,
an interview and stuff like that. You said it's detrimental. And I think it's there's so many different other places, like in a relationship. In a relationship, you should have no ego.
Yeah, exactly. That's another place where you let your ego go in a relationship. Thank you for saying that, because it's just certain places you just like. Honestly, even if you have, first of all, I don't recommend having that ego in a relationship. I just keep it 100. But even if you do, which some people do, and I see it a lot, and it's like, bro, like realistically, like maybe that's just not the person for you if you still have an ego. But
of course,
let's not get into that. Let's not even get into that. I'm not going to tell people how to run their relationships. But I will say this: if you get in arguments, put your ego aside, because you can never ever grow if you're bringing your ego into an argument with you, especially if it's somebody you care about and you're trying to grow together. You're supposed to be breaking down barriers. So your ego should have no place in that argument whatsoever.
Shout out Chelsea for this video idea.
Yeah.
I just have to say that. I had to put that out there.
Word. But yeah, I was saying like you shouldn't bring your ego into arguments because you bring your ego into an argument. What an ego does is it really doesn't let you accept certain things. Like I feel like you have really a choice: ego or acceptance. You can either keep your ego or accept reality, right? So
Yeah,
like if you're having an argument and you're bringing an ego into it, it's kind of damn near impossible for you to see the other person's point because you have an ego. So like even if you can see it, you just won't accept it. And another issue I have though, some people have like a super ego, like it's just ridiculous because it's like it gets to a point where it's never specific. It's never, oh, you know what I do is I play basketball and I'm confident I'll beat anybody at basketball. And like you're always challenging people at basketball and some people are just competitive in real life to a point where their ego just overtakes everything. You just think as a person, I am better than everybody in general. You can't accept a loss at anything. You can't, those people
that's
tend to
narcissism.
yeah, but that's a product of ego. You know what I'm saying? Like these are people that tend to be like sore losers. You know what I'm saying? They just don't get me wrong. They can be nice people, but it's just you don't want to compete with these type of people because first of all, beating them, you feel bad, and you'll never hear the end of it because they can't accept that you won. They can't take a loss, right? Like it's okay to have an ego, but you still have to be able to take a loss. You know what I'm saying? Like even if you have an ego, even if you still think, oh, I'm better than this person, or okay, this person beat me, I'm gonna get better than this person, is different from, oh nah, you cheated, run it back. Oh no. Like you know what I'm saying? Like there's a graceful way to take things, right? So like I said, it's one thing to have an ego, but you also you need to know how to carry yourself with that ego. Cause I won't lie, I have an ego. If I get beat by somebody in basketball, actually, I've got perfect story. I remember I played against this dude who played in the NCAA, and I'm not gonna lie to you, it was bad. It was bad. Now I know people are gonna clown me for this, all right, but I just say you wouldn't have done any better. Okay, so don't even talk up to me. I don't want to see no comments. LOL. Just keep it to yourself. Just keep it to
Yeah, this
yourself.
is your ego talking because no one will say anything.
Just keep it to yourself. All right.
You just said the person plays the NCAA. who's gonna clown you?
Anyways.
Damn, bro.
I played against this guy, right?
Damn.
And we played against each other. We had a really nice game, and then I was like, oh, like you want to do a quick 1v1, right? And he was like practicing and stuff, and I was like, okay, bet. And then so we did a 1-on-1. Now, long story short, we played till 11. He beat me 11-1. Okay, I only scored one bucket. All right. I scored one bucket. That has never happened to me before. I don't think I was like that. Like, yeah, I've lost a couple games here and there, but never like that. It was just kind of shameful. And it's not like I was playing, like I was actually trying my best. Okay, I was trying my best at the time. I was giving him everything I had at the time. He was just bigger, faster, better. Okay? And I didn't sit there and cry or say you're cheating. I took my L. I said, you know what? Good game. I'm gonna be practicing. And in 3 months, we're gonna face off again, and I'm gonna beat you. We shook hands. I took his contact, and that was that. You know what I'm saying? That's how. You know what I'm saying? You can keep your ego, right, and recognize you have improvements to make, right? You can keep, right. You don't have to let your ego get out of control. Where like some people just can't. It's one thing to have an ego. Some people just can't handle that threat when they feel their ego being challenged, which I think the problem isn't your ego, it's your reaction to that feeling. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, I like to say just from knowing you, even, we have like a humble ego. Like we have an ego, but it's not like we display it everywhere. You know what I mean? Like we don't enforce our ego on. It's just a mental thing for us. Whereas other people enforce their ego. But then again, some people's egos, the ones that like there's differences. The way we have our egos are really a mental thing. We don't portray it. We don't force it onto people. We don't like, you know what I mean? We're humble.
Yeah.
Some people have so much of a quote unquote ego. So I'm just trying to make the differentiate, right? The quote unquote ego is where you're posting things that aren't even yours to try and be rich on Instagram, or like that's a boost of confidence and an ego because you think that I am the best, everyone's gonna love me because of this, but it's all fake. It's not real. That is a lack of confidence, right? What we have is confidence, which translates to ego, if that makes any sense.
Are you trying to say that you feel like some people have an ego, but they lack the substance to back it up?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. They need to fill in their ego. Whereas some people have ego based off what they've done in the past. Some people need to fill it based off of other people's reaction.
Yeah.
Right? Like you think you're the best only up until but you need someone else to tell you you're the best as well. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you need that. Whereas you know you're great at basketball because of all the years you've put into it. Right?
Oh, right. I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
And that's my point. Exactly. That's exactly my point. Is like when you're that proud of a person, that's when it becomes detrimental, because instead of your ego helping you at that point, is holding you back.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because like you said, like people posting stuff that doesn't belong to them. You know, if you had an ego and it was, you know, a well manageable ego or a well managed ego, you wouldn't be posting other people's shit. Your ego would make you work to get that stuff to post it. You know what I mean? You'll be posting your own stuff, your own stuff.
Ego.
Yeah, that's where ego is healthy. But if you're posting other people's stuff, then you're never really gonna get that drive to be like, okay, yeah, I want to work and get to that point where I could post it myself, because you're just gonna be complicit posting other people's shit, and you're gonna be fine with that. You're gonna continue doing it until you can't no more, and then your ego comes crashing down.
Mm-hmm. Then you just lose everything. You have nothing to show. And that's when people say, bro, you a fake ass nigga, you know, you bum ass nigga, da da da. But that nigga has the life on Instagram. But in reality, he's arguing with the girl, he's cheating on the girl, he's doing all that stuff. All that comes from a lack of confidence and a necessity for someone who thinks that they're the best, but they're not. And that's where it's unhealthy. The idea that you're the best without any backing from yourself to say you're the best is where it becomes unhealthy, because you'll be arguing with someone, you know you're wrong. You know you're wrong. You're arguing with someone, fighting that person, trying to I am right. I shut up, calling the person names up. You don't want to hear anything the person has to say because you just don't want to be told you're at that point. It's detrimental. It's detrimental to your own health, detrimental to the other person's health. And that goes on to our last episode. When you're arguing with someone, you need to set it down, because you just like you said, if I have an ego while I'm arguing with you, it doesn't matter what you say. You can bring up, God can come down to earth and say you're wrong. I'm right. And at that point, there's no point in arguing with someone like that. There's absolutely no point, because that ego is just going to completely blind a person. That's when it's unhealthy. That's when it's disgusting. When it's healthy is when you're an employer. You see a kid, you know, he comes in. I mean, he doesn't come in like a wimp. He comes in, he sits down, and he says, I'm going to get this job. And after he's asked the question, what makes you, you know, a good fit for this position? And I'm going to get this job because you guys need me because of this, and third, blah, 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 blah. Right? They're able to list all the things they've done. They're confident, right? They came in the room confident, and their ego allowed them to get to the point where they're able to sit down on that table for the job interview. That's healthy ego. But then again, when you go into the workforce or whatever, some places you need to set your ego aside. Like when you're wrong, you know?
Exactly.
That's just that.
Exactly. And I think even in terms of like the way people view you publicly, it's like, I know a lot of people, like, you see somebody with an ego, especially girls. Girls hate. I don't know what it is with girls, but like girls see a guy with an ego, and instantly, like, their base instinct is, I hate that guy. Why does he have such a big ego, right? But then you get like it's actually so bad because it's actually like kind of like a movie trope too. It's like, the guy with the ego and the girl doesn't like him, and then she gets to know one or two things about him and finds out, oh wow, oh, it's not just an ego. It's the fact that he actually works to get to where he is. He has the substance
Mm-hmm.
to back it up, like he's actually a competent person, right? But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and I think it just goes to show the same thing you were just showing about the jobs is like an ego is fine as long as there's substance there to back it up. Yeah, as long as you have the proof to back it up, you know what I'm saying? Have your ego. It's like Muhammad Ali, right? Talk your shit. Talk your
Oh,
shit.
I love that shit. I
You know
love
what I'm
that.
saying?
Anytime
If
I see a girl that has some pride, I tell them, talk your shit. You know what I mean? You do that. You have that pride. You deserve.
yeah,
If you think you deserve to have the pride, no, I'm not going to be the one to stop you until you don't. However, I will be the first to tell you, if you have pride with me and you actually have no reason to have that pride,
yeah, exactly,
I'll
exactly,
be the first to tell you, cut that shit out. Just cut that
exactly.
shit. Cut
As long
that shit
as you
out.
have the sauce to back up your talk, it is what it is. People can't get mad, right? As long as look, and you can shit talk as much as you want, as long as you're not bringing other people down. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm sorry, I don't see anything wrong with it.
Oh, me neither. I don't see nothing wrong with having an ego. I see something wrong with when you come in here talking crazy. I think you pointed out some girls hate niggas with egos. Those are the people who have an ego. They have egos with nothing to back it up. Nothing to back it up. Those are girls I stay away from. Those are girls I 110% stay with. I want nothing to do with because you have a whole shit ton of ego. You hate people who love themselves, right? You want the person to be all about you because you're all about you. But that's it. That's the reason why a lot of girls don't like niggas with egos because they think, oh, like they're not gonna care about me, blah 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 blah. That's not true. Niggas with egos will care about you if they have healthy ego. But the ones with negative egos, those are the ones that won't care about you because they're not gonna care about you the same way you won't care about the nigga. If you hate a nigga because he has ego, it's because you have an ego, a negative ego. That's all. That's in my opinion. I think people with healthy egos like people with healthy egos.
Yeah. So yeah. Basically, yeah. Just to sum it up, a healthy ego is necessary for competition. And life is competitive. Almost everything is really a competition when it boils down to it. So a healthy ego is really necessary, especially in this day and age. Like, you kind of need an ego, right? But you have to keep your ego in check, and you have to recognize when to drop that ego.
Completely agree, my niggas.
All right, bro. That's it for today. PNO, we out.